welcome back to the channel. My name is Gonzii and today we are going to be reacting to another casual geographic banger, this time called Roasting Nature for 11 minutes straight. Without further ado, let's go, man. I don't need to say anything about casual geographic. Homie the goat, I've been saying, let's go.
Turtle facts, but they quickly get more disturbing. Triggering the Jurassic Park fans, the sounds of the velociraptors are actually sounds of turtles having sex. If you don't believe me, Google it. Speaking of which, I was not going to do this, but you said I couldn't ruin them, so here's what these shell jockeys are packing in an 11-inch hammer, and no, I am not going to apologize for this video, you basically asked for it. Turtles don't produce saliva, they need water to swallow food.
I did not need to see that.
Food with no bed, he'll proceed to choke to death right in front of you.
There
used to be a giant sea turtle that grew to 13 feet long and weighed up to 5,000 pounds. And since they have beaks, one bite could easily take your arm off and turn any conservative completely left. Speaking of mouth, here's a reminder, this is what their mouth and throat looks like. Those papillae are designed to help hold slippery jellyfish in place while it tries not to swallow seawater. But it also looks like you deep-throated a thornbush. Most turtles carry salmonella on their outer skin and shells, and it accidentally gets passed on to kids that put them near their mouths. Catching this means you can look forward to nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, and the loss of the will to live. Sea turtles probably have the worst childhood of any animal.
Yeah, that's actually facts, bro, if you think about it.
In a class of 1,000, maybe one will live a meaningful life, the rest get the Disney side character treat. Someone on Instagram dared me to ruin horses, and I wasn't going to do it because the horse community is a community I want zero, actually negative smoke with. But then he said, you won't, on God.
You will, on God as well.
He got my Instagram DMs on a Sunday afternoon. I am choosing verbal violence.
Yeah, you got to
warning in 3, 2, 1. Those are what the hooves of a baby horse look like, and if it makes you uncomfortable, you are not alone. Those horse feathers are eponychium, and it's a soft capsule that protects the uterus and birth canal from the sharp hooves.
It does look weird.
There is no protecting your sanity, though, because looking at this too long makes me want to take a shower. They wear off once the horse foal starts walking, but what doesn't wear off is the mental anguish of anyone seeing this for the first time. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and trigger
trypophobia.
If you're not hiding in the comments, you might want to do it now. That is a horse with a degloved hoof, and it's when an entire part of the hoof detaches, leaving it without a cap. This happens when the horse gets a hoof caught on something like a cattle guard. It's like tearing your toenail, but times 1,000. Horses can survive this, but it's one of the most severe injuries they can get. I didn't want to do this to y'all, but when you challenged me on Instagram, this is what happens. Someone on Instagram said I couldn't ruin frogs, so now I'm going to make it your problem. Major trigger warning. A surnamed toad is a frog that gives birth from its back, holding them under its skin until the tadpoles force their way out. I don't have trypophobia, but this image makes me want to Helen Keller myself, so I can never be assaulted like this again.
Wild.
Frogs can't
I don't have
like
trypophobia either.
Instead, they spit their stomachs out their mouths to get rid of something they ate, and then they put it back in like nothing ever happened. Hairy frog will break its own bones, shove the bones out of its skin, and use them as claws. Sounds crazy, but if a guy came up to me, broke his wrist, and tried to slash me with his exposed bone, Usain Bolt would be the second fastest man. Titicaca frog looks like it went through 3 rounds of liposuction because the extra skin helps it absorb more oxygen. But it also makes him look like a Muppet's testicle.
It does.
Poison dart frog can put 10 men in coffins, and they got their name because people would rub them on the end of darts and throw them at ops. If you got hit, you'd be paralyzed completely and left to die. The male Darwin frog will swallow children like a first-year sorority pledge. The babies will form in his vocal sac until he gives birth by vomiting his own children out. If you remove a frog's liver, it will explode. When scared, they puff themselves up, and without a liver to hold their organs in place, they tear their lungs and send their insides flying.
Damn!
Or you know, butterfly facts, but they slowly get disturbing. Butterflies have a nasty diet that includes mud, sweat, urine, blood, feces, and dead bodies. They taste with their feet, so if one lands on you, it's not because he likes you, he's taste testing your sweat. If you ever see the purple emperor, you might be closer than you think to a corpse. This butterfly feeds on rotting flesh, and they find it through smell. They're also attracted to urine-soaked fox poop because why the f*** not? Butterflies have a proboscis that they feed through, and this is what it looks like up close, and now I understand why SpongeBob almost burnt the city to the ground. And because butterflies can't bite or chew, they drink everything through that straw of a nose. Meaning the butterflies that feed on corpses or feces literally suck the fluids out. Are they still cute now? Certain chemicals released by plants can cause caterpillars to start eating each other. The most poisonous butterfly in the world is the Antimachus swallowtail, which is potent enough to take out 6 cats, and they're found in Uganda. To the person on Instagram that said I couldn't ruin butterflies, this video is for you. And to make up for the trauma this video may or may not have caused, check out this cool app to make friends in your area. Meet new people by hitting the link in my bio. Who knows, you might see me there. I'm starting to think I know too much.
That most definitely exists, but I refuse to acknowledge their existence based on principle.
The video inspired me to speak my truth, so here's 4 animals that disturb me on an emotional level. First is the walrus, because something about a 2,200-pound blubber ball with ice picks for teeth I do not trust. I'm not afraid of them, but I definitely wouldn't be able to make eye contact with this thing. Also, they put polar bears in coffins, and we don't even talk about it. But if I'm being honest, there's only one reason I feel this way. If you remember this cartoon, probably remember this. This bastard wrecked me spiritually. I don't know why anyone thought it was okay to show kids. This is the marabou stork because I do not approve of their vibe.
Caribou! A marabou, no, a caribou is like
5 feet tall with a 10-foot wingspan. Apparently they marry children. It does not help matters that they look like an STD with a beak. This massacre and tell me they're not malicious intent with wings. Next is a telescope fish because they're way too Nature was trying to prove a point. But number 1 is definitely this 5
the shoe bill
electronic looking demon. Everything about them is unsettling, from the clogged shoe beak to the soul-sapped eyes to the fact that they sound like a
I
machine
like
gun.
them though,
It
they're
looks like
cool.
they're planning something malicious. The worst part is they're actually sweet around humans, but I'll never
They
trust a
are.
Jurassic reject. Even the babies look like the brood of Lucifer. This is what you would look like next to some of the biggest animals ever.
Okay.
First you have literal flying Satan, the
Damn.
Quetzalcoatlus, aka Murder Tweety, built like a fighter jet the size of a giraffe.
Bro, they
could have a
huge,
wingspan of 36
though.
feet and weigh 550 pounds. If you're wondering how this air demon could fly, this was back when nature didn't know its own rules. All I know is that you'd be nothing but a Ritz cracker to them.
And the size
Next,
of
we
a
have the
giraffe.
Etherium, aka the Siberian unicorn, and this is S-tier disrespectful. This hell unicorn could grow to 15 feet and violate Weight Watchers at 9,000 pounds. This Royd Rhino was actually closer in size to a woolly mammoth. Even though they were vegetarians, if they were still alive, they'd have a higher body count than a Kardashian at the
That's
NBA.
facts, that's
Next, we have the
facts.
Paraceratherium, and fun fact, this
Oh, they were cute, man, Paraceratheriums.
They were the largest land mammals ever given life, and at 30 feet long, 44,000 pounds, they could turn an entire family reunion into a hashtag by sitting in the wrong spot. Like, look at its skull and tell me nature was a womp. But that's somehow nothing compared to the middle finger that was Deinosuchus. It was
Oh yeah,
a
the
40-foot crocodile that
Deinosuchus
was turned into
was...
chalk outlines like nothing. They allegedly had a 20,000-pound bite.
Look at that!
And their jaws would be like Thanos snapping his fingers. He would have been inevitable. You remember the whole debate where it was like, who would you rather fight, 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? Where there's an easy answer, but the reason why is...
100 duck-sized horses,
get into
bro.
it. First of all, 100 tiny horses would be death by 1,000 bites, but death would be a lot better than what the duck would do to you. You see, ducks often confuse humans for other ducks, which is why ducklings can imprint on human caretakers. But here's where it would get interesting. Large birds like ostriches and emus have been known to find humans attractive, and they will even ignore members of their own species to flirt with them.
Yes.
And this is exactly what this looks like.
Yes.
So if ducks were the size of horses, they would take one look at us and choose love, not war. But you do not want to be loved by a duck. They evolved a corkscrew phallus, literally designed to make them better at cosbying each other. And if ducks are
not
anything,
cosbying, bro.
Grape with a silent G another duck to death, and then proceed to grape the dead body too. I forgot to mention the biggest duck Peter was about 17 inches. Do not ask me how I know that.
Damn.
So 100 duck-sized horses would be bad. But a horse-sized curly fry flaunting
Exactly.
Bryce Walker is a check you do not want to cash because it would literally be your ass. Top 5 worst animal births you'll be glad you'll never have. Number 5 is the elephant, because how would you like to be knocked up for 22 months just to give birth to a 300-pound baby?
Exactly.
That's 660 days of maternal hell, and no amount of tax breaks or child support will ever make that okay. Number 4 is the termite queen, because she can give birth every 15 seconds for 10 years straight, and on a good day she can pop out
15
30,000
seconds!
eggs. I don't care how tough you think you are, your kitty would look like a flat tire after day 1. Number 3 is the kiwi bird, for the
Oh
violation
yeah,
that is
bro,
this
that's a
picture. This New Zealand
violation.
bird has to push out an egg that's 20%
The kiwi is like
size.
this big,
You're probably
bro.
wondering, so that's like 160
And the
pound
egg
woman
is
birthing a
this big.
32-pound child, and if you're crossing your legs at the thought, I don't blame you, that is horrible. Nuclear bomb to the waist down.
Look at that, bro. That's
This is the
not
nonsense
fair.
you have to deal with compared to
That's
emus and
not
ostriches.
fair.
Pain is at number 2 might surprise you, but wait till you see number 1. Females have a pseudo penis they give birth from, and yes, it's as bad as you think. First time mother will die if her cub gets stuck, and 60% of cubs will suffocate because they can't break free. Only way out is by splitting the pseudo in half. Number 1 is the sea louse, because first she gets dragged into a dungeon.
Oh,
and
this
gets
is
cosmic by
wild.
the
I
man.
know this
Then
one.
her babies chew through her and split her body in half. Basically,
Yep.
let's reverse Casey Anthony for her troubles. We seem to get comments like this, so here are the top 4 reasons why Megalodon is 100% dead. Number 1, we've discovered 20% of the ocean, and the only place they can live without us knowing is the bottom of the ocean. Only problem is, as a warm water shark, not only would the cold put the Meg out of commission, there'd be no place for them to breed.
Thanks.
One of the whole reasons they died is because when the ocean cooled, their range shrunk. Number 2, they'd never have enough food to survive. As a 60-foot, 40-ton shark, Megalodon would have needed a disrespectful amount of food, and not only did its regular victims get smaller and faster, great white sharks ran the table and left them nothing but a plate of disappointment. They starved to death then, and they starve to death now. Number 3, if by some force of nature a shark the length of a bowling lane was still around, either its dead body would wash ashore or its teeth would pop up at the animals it ate. The giant squid spends its entire life at the bottom of the ocean, and we still know they exist for this exact reason. Plus, playing Where's Waldo with a 60-foot nuclear submarine with teeth wouldn't last that long. If they were still alive, we would know.
Exactly.
And number 4, they're just outdated. The Meg lived in a time where nature was on drugs and everything on Earth was on steroids because of higher oxygen content. But when nature switched up and animals got smaller, the Meg got left behind. They just needed too much food and it wouldn't be fast enough to get it, so like an episode of Family Guy, Meg would take an L. Animal
Yeah,
that you
Meg
believe because
does
you were
take
a
Ls,
stupid little
bro.
kid like me. If you touch a baby bird, its mother will reject it. It's wrong because most birds have a limited sense of smell, so they wouldn't even know if a human touched their chick. You still shouldn't touch them though, because a mother
Exactly.
will leave her chicks to die if she feels like a predator discovered their nest. If you cut an earthworm in half, you will not get 2 earthworms. The head of the worm will regenerate a new body if the cut is behind the clitellum, which is right there. But the tail end dies. So if you ever split worms as a kid, there's a good chance you murdered them for no reason.
Wow.
You're a psychopath. There was actually a time where the internet genuinely believed that people swallowed 8 spiders a year in their sleep.
Yeah, bro, it's
You
true.
don't, because you might be scared of
No,
them.
we
Spiders
don't.
are terrified of you. The sound of your breathing and your heartbeat will create vibrations that would freak them out, so they'd go out of their way to avoid you.
Facts.
There was a woman that would sleep next to her python every night, and when it stopped eating, she took it to the vet and found out it was sizing her up to eat her. Actually,
Damn.
snakes don't measure out their victims before they eat it, they just swallow without a conscience.
Wow.
If snakes actually went through the trouble of measuring out their prey before they ate them, they'd starve to death because no animal's gonna sit there and let that happen. Also, you can't tell me they have great planning skills after this one died deep-throating a porcupine. Animal myths that you believe because you were a dumb little kid, just like me. Cats don't always land on their feet, it depends on the height they fall, and it turns out the higher they fall, the less injuries they get. A study in New York showed that cats that fall from 7 to 32 stories suffered less injuries than cats that fell from 2 to 6 stories. More airtime means more time to make adjustments. But it makes you wonder how many cats got yeeted for science. Bats aren't blind, a lot would actually rather use eyesight to fly. But they can fly blindfolded because echolocation gives them a good understanding of their surroundings. Bulls don't hate the color red, it's actually the movement of the cape that makes them turn up. A pissed off bull will charge at a black or white cape the exact same way because equality. But the reason they use a red cape is to hide the bloodstains from the bull so people watching don't realize how brutal and violent this sport actually is. Lions don't pretend to be hurt by the bites from their cubs to encourage them. Lions often yawn to show irritation, so this isn't a father building confidence, it's Mufasa about to backhand the lights out of Simba. Goldfish do not have bad memories, they can actually remember up to
They actually don't, it's true.
Remember human faces. And they're accurate, one was able to pick out the right human face out of 44 possible options.
Damn.
I'll be teaching y'all for free, so if you learn something new today instead of tuition, I'll happily take an Instagram follow. 5 animals that only disappoint me the more I learn about them. The fact that one of the cutest animals in the world might be the closest to Satan. If you want a full video, let me know, but short story, their sociopath Seawheels was born from the flames of Lucifer with the spirit of Ted Bundy and a dash of Dan Schneider. I love pandas, but the more I learn about them, the more I realize they're functionally useless, and if they didn't have any privilege on their side, they would have gone extinct a long time ago.
They do have pretty privilege, they do have pretty privilege.
Marty was my favorite character in Madagascar, and then I found out how aggressive and downright demonic zebras can be. All I can say is if the alpha male zebra sees a pregnant female, he will not be pro-life. Not only will he delete a fetus, he'll murder any baby zebras that are already alive. Number 2 are cheetahs because I spent my childhood standing them just to find out they get bullied by everything in life. Unless it's a 100-meter dash or a bird call contest.
Bro, I love cheetahs while I was a kid, man.
There's only 7,000
but they are so dumb.
The water bear. Y'all overrated this moss pig because it can survive in space.
Oh, bro, yeah, water pigs is
things actively trying to kill them. Like Tears said, it's
overrated.
Like weakness were bullets. Most don't live longer than a few months and they can't even survive each other. No way to defend themselves, no bag at all, just vibes. And they're gonna get caught by climate change.
So yeah, guys, there you have it, another banger by Casual Geographic. Homie stays the GOAT, like I've always been saying. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Before you go, don't forget our videos on the channel, man. Come on, keep God first, as always. Drink water, go tell somebody you love them, and if you know what to do, man, like the video, subscribe to the channel. My name is Gonzii, and guys, more. Goodbye.